Again, the magazine about this was like, you want to imagine how bad it'd be on a ship full of men like this for a bunch of women, so we put them to sleep. It's just a very bad picture to paint of what this crew was like. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Space Battleship Yamato. I do want to say up front that we are recording 2 episodes back to back today. Of course, this is going to be released in the normal order, so they'll be one at a time. But next episode, there will be no notes or board section, because obviously there won't be one, because I'm recording back to back. But letting you know now ahead of time. That said, though, we do have a board, we do have notes. In fact, we have comments today. But let's start as we normally do with the board. And with the board comes the board changelog, which is to say that I added Hayashi and connected him to the Yamato crew. And I added Gale and connected him to Admiral Domel. That's basically it. These board changelogs aren't as involved as my other boards that I do, because I guess this is going to be a slow rollout of a show. So things are happening slowly, and the board is kind of reflecting that. To notes then, it looks like Mori has gone from a nurse to Chief Life Environmental Commander. It feels like she occupies the same role as Deanna Troi does in Star Trek The Next Generation, but also has medical training to go with. Much like Troi, she's also the only one besides the captain in a completely different uniform, as it's hard to miss the fact that she looks like some sort of space pirate in her getup. I mentioned it before, but it really stands out to me how much Gamulus feels like an empire, more so than the Bosnians from Voltace 5, which is the show I feel like I'm often comparing it to, due to how closely I've watched them together. The Bosnians were supposed to be galactic invaders, but we only really see their homeworld and a mixed match of ships. Gamulus has fleets, multiple bases, a supply network. They feel like they are up to something out in space beyond what our main characters are concerned about. And I really appreciated that, as it makes them seem more like a threat than a group whose entire focus is just on our main characters. Like, Domel's fleet pockmarks the sky in a similar way to how the Zentradi fleet of SDF Macross blotted out the stars. And we are told this is just one of the fleets Domel is using on his vacation. I'm not entirely sure what the 4th dimension is supposed to be. The Yamato seemingly just drifted into it, whereas wreckage also seems to have found its way there. But it seems like the Gamulus ships have engines specifically designed to take them in. Since we already have the wave motion engine, it seems unlikely that this was something designed to speed us up even more. It would also seem peculiar to introduce another form of propulsion, unless this is how we are to assume Gamulus and most other spacefaring groups travel around, and in that the wave motion engine is just that much more unique. At some point, Kodai is going to have to start understanding the situation that they are in. Even at the start of the episode, Shima and Morai are talking about how behind they are on where they should be. An episode ago, they brought up how they can't stop and fight every time something gets in their way, as they don't have the time to do so. And still, Kodai is begging the captain to brawl with a Gamulus scout, eating up even more of their time. I said it during the reaction, I thought the Gamulus ships were missing on purpose at the start. Over 130 ships firing at the Yamato constantly for almost 10 minutes of the runtime, and missing either denotes extreme plot armor or a level of incompetency on the Gamulus side which completely removes any threat I thought they would have. I wonder if Gurren Lagann got its power-draining Star Ocean concept from this episode. Like, I'm aware sci-fi existed before Gurren Lagann, and in that there may have been something similar to that and something else. Sorry, Gurren Lagann, before Space Battleship Yamato. But it just kind of felt like that was kind of reminiscent. Even Star Trek TNG had a similar episode. If Iskander can send transmissions through space directly like this, why did Starsha send her sister with a physical message? I know I was flippant about it while watching the episode, but two things pop into my head. Maybe this is the limit of that communication range, or the wave motion engine and gun were special, and they sent them the schematics that way to ensure that Gamulus didn't get their hands on it. The reason I wouldn't think it would be a communications limit is that Starsha says that she's been watching over them since they left the Earth. Also, she upgraded their systems at a distance too, implying that she has that ability. So why not before? Why not send the Cosmo Cleaner that way? I feel like this really needs to be addressed and explained at some point. My final note here. The editor's note says that January 5th, 2200 was the 86th day since Yamato left the Earth. It is currently January 8th. Dommel writes his note on the 7th, but the end of the episode counter says 273 days left, which is 7 days after the 1st, so the 8th. Which would mean that the editors are trying to say that the Yamato left the Earth on October 14th, which would actually be when the Yamato went to Titan. It's actually been 90 days since the Yamato left Earth, counting from the 10th when the Yamato first tested its wave motion engine and left the Earth. So, as I said, that was my final note, but again, we do come with comments. We have Arthur Painter from Revolving Defense. Hi, I'm an OG Star Blazers fan from back in the day. Love this series so far. Just a point of clarification, the asteroid belt in this episode is not the asteroid belt, the one between Mars and Jupiter, but the remains of Planet 10. On this video, watch around the 13th mark, Okita, Kodai, and Shima are discussing Planet 10. I would point out that maybe you have to give me an episode before you can say I'm wrong about a thing, because that's the way I do. I react, and then I do the note section. So I believe in the next episode that gets posted, the one after Revolving Defense, I will have in the note section that that's not the asteroid belt that they were talking about. So I understand that this is the most recent video and you're responding to the most recent video, but the format that I do this stuff in makes that a bit difficult. Anyway, the Star Blazers dub added a little more detail. Instead of just calling it Planet 10, they called it Minerva and said it was the first one the Gamilans went after and destroyed. They don't go into why the Gamilans destroyed it, but it's easy to surmise 3 reasons. 1, to demonstrate their power. 2, to mine material for planet bombs. 3, they're huge dicks who like to ruin things. I was a little disappointed the Japanese version didn't even explain why they're calling a field of rocks a planet. So yeah, their mission plan is kind of wonky, but they're not going backwards. Also, the original series was planned for 52 episodes, so the series would play out over a year in real time. The TV station that sponsored the show wouldn't commit to 52 episodes, but agreed to 39. Around the time this episode aired, the ratings came in and they were bad. The Yamato production crew got the news and the episode order was cut down to 26, so the writing staff planned to take their time, only to have to speed things up a bit. Kind of sounds like SDF Macross's problems. Keep up the good work and hope you're on your way to perfect health. That's not going to happen. Maybe have some sake. It always seems to make Dr. Sato feel better. I would say that mimicking my life after Dr. Sato's is probably not the way to go. The dude got drunk in outer space. He opened up the top of his helmet, poured sake into it. I would say the only thing Dr. Sato has going for him is a doctorate. I mean, I've seen the call he made back home. The only person that's waiting for him is a cat. to be fair. That's not far off from. Next up, we have Kellen Winslow from Also Revolving Defense. As I said, it's the latest episode on YouTube when this recording is being done. Due to it being longer, it can feel a bit drawn out at times. It does overstay its welcome. This is another issue that newer version fixed, being a tight 26 episodes. So they trimmed the fat while still keeping everything intact. But they were making it up as they went along and breaking new ground as they did so. I will cut them some slack. After all, they were creating a new world here, and having a show that with continuity and not being episodic was pretty new as well. Although clearly they weren't overly concerned with where things are in our solar system, lol. But for all of the issues of the show plot-wise, one of the biggest issues is the entire bombarding the Earth thing. With or without radiation is bad enough. Nothing could live there after what's been done. Even if all the radiation is gotten rid of, it wouldn't matter since everything has been destroyed and life on the planet's surface is gone. So the entire trip is pointless unless they can somehow restore the entire planet. That's a big issue that is actually dealt with in the new version. We'll see what happens here. Enjoying the reactions though. Hopefully your throat issues aren't too bad. They're only getting worse. Yeah, I think I specifically pulled this comment out from the list of comments that Kellen Winslow has made because I hadn't even thought about the element that the majority of the surface of the planet's been destroyed. Like, there's no oceans anymore. That is a lot of oxygen generation gone right there. There's basically no ecosystem left except for, I guess, whatever animals and shit got brought down into the underground cities. We've seen the plant life is growing over the underground cities where the people aren't anymore. So it seems like plant life can come back. The element of there being no oceans, though, I think that's the biggest thing of all. Like, I remember addressing this in SDF Macross when the Centrati fleet bombards the Earth, and it's like, I remember, was it not Hikaru? Maybe it was Hikaru. Finds like a plant. A plant is left on the surface. It feels like that Wall-E moment. Like, oh no, life is coming back. There's no oceans. There's no oceans. Like, there's no water left on Earth. We're gonna be living underground no matter what happens. So yeah, good point on that last one at the very least. That said, though, that is everything in the comments that I've brought. That's all of my notes. That's the board. So let's go ahead and hop on in and see where we're going next.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Condemned criminal of the underground plan, blah, 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 blah. Sorry, I looked away for half a second, and that half a second was long enough for me not to get the full name. Off the top of my head, Planet Fallen? I think that's the midpoint between the galaxy and the Magellan clouds that we're supposed to be heading towards. That I think we were 40 days away from last episode. Which, by the way, we are way off schedule. Something is gonna have to happen in this show to really speed us up. Like, we're gonna have to get there with 10 days left, and they're have to open a wormhole to get us back to Earth. And not for nothing, the faster we get there, the faster we get back and start dealing with the radiation, because people are dying while that's going on. It's not like everyone was going to die all at once a year from launch. People are dying all along the way because that's how radiation works. I think that they've maybe abated having to deal with that by cutting off communication early on. I can imagine the show being a lot worse if we had constant communication and we had to keep seeing how bad it was back home every episode.
球は宇宙の謎の星ガミラスから優勢爆弾の攻撃を受け、その放射能汚染によって人類絶滅まで1年と迫っていた。
Again, what the editor suggests is that the Gameless people are doing this to create radiation on Earth in order to terraform it so that they can live here. So that implies something's wrong with the Gameless homeworld that we haven't been experienced yet either. Either that or they just need more room to spread out. Ballin, I was right. I think that's what I said. Oh, that's new. That little overlay that they put on space. I like that.
バラン星を根拠地にヤマトを仕留めようと牙を研ぐ宇宙の狼ドメル
Space Wolf. It's kind of funny because this is supposed to be his vacation, last I remember hearing him say. It's like more potatoes. That's gonna be the gray bread too. He's just sucking on 2 fingers. That wasn't like whistling, he was like in there. I mean, this feels like a bad idea, given that you're the only woman awake. And it's a ship full of men. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is a horrible show for this sort of shit. Again, the magazine about this was like, you want to imagine how bad it'd be on a ship full of men like this for a bunch of women, so we put them to sleep. It's just a very bad picture to paint of what this crew is like. I mean, I'm glad she's like reporting this though. Sexual harassment is not to be tolerated. I mean, it might be a bad idea only because there might not be anybody on board who can do anything to analyze her. Of course, I was suggesting the analyzer could be an enemy spy for a long time ago, so who the hell knows?
Mori. ここからでも植物が豊富にあることははっきり見えている。君の任務はこの星の地上調査と野菜として食べられる植物の発見だ。分かってるな。では行ってくれ。わかりました。森生活班長、アナライザーを連れて地上調査
You're missing part of your title, as I covered before.
何かやらかすんじゃないだろうな。
You know, it feels like the odds of finding food that people could eat on a random alien planet would be incredibly low. You wouldn't be evolved to eat random food on an alien world. I would assume it would. Analyzer seems like he's heavy.
壊れてくれればよかったのに。早くどいてよ。しばらくこうしていたい。アナライザー、大気成分を分析しなさい。
I mean, what's the point of that, actually? You had to open the cockpit to do the analyzation. In which case, their helmets are never sealed. The fact that she pulls it up implies that that bottom part where her mouth is exposed. Because it's the same helmets they used on Mars. And Pluto.
何かしら。
アリか蜂の巣のようです。
行ってみましょう。変ね。誰もいないのかしら。入ってみましょう。
I mean, I appreciate they're introducing alien intelligent civilization. I mean, maybe they're not like interstellar or anything,
どうしたんだ艦長もう少し様子を見よ
but it's still like more than nothing, right?
アナライザー。
That alien life is out there and abundant, apparently. I think that one just had something of Analyzer's like body in his hand when it came away. I guess not, maybe that was an animation error. Okay, industrial level, at the very least. Although, why you're turning things with bones? Oh, they're gonna grind people up into food? Yeah. Just kind of felt like this is that kind of society. You gotta appreciate when your jail cell is filled with holes large enough for you to fit through. Maybe not so much Analyzer, though.
ひどいもんですね。彼らは蜂みたいな人種なんでしょうきっと。
Bees only throw up the stuff that looks like honey.
地球の蜂にも
These people are being crushed into it.
成分があります。おそらく彼らの体にはそれがふんだんに含まれているんでしょう。ロイヤルゼリーを生成したエキスは貴重な精力薬になります。だから。やめて。
Also, I don't suspect that bees exist anymore on Earth.
ダメよ、嘘ついたって。通信はとっくに切れてるじゃない。
I mean, unless there's like somebody in the ruined cities that are keeping bees for some reason. Okay, I was wrong. They are an interstellar civilization dealing with Gamulus.
えた機会はデスラー相当ご自身と思え。こちらガミラスの惑星タックス部第8支局、何の用だ。
今日ロケットつくか。
タンカーロケットの
Oh, they can speak.
もちろんだ。お前たち
Oh,
は
they can already speak. People are begging for their lives. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
タンカーロケットはすでに我が第8支局を出発している。予定の時刻にはお前たちの星に着くはずだ。納入する X はできているな。
できている。
よろしい。女王の忠誠ぶりはいつかデスラ相当のお耳に入れようと思っている。
I wonder if Gameless has any need for it, or if they're just doing it to supplicate. You know, like if the Gameless gets the stuff and they're like, ew, more of this, and they like dump it and it has no actual use, but they need to see to be taking it so that these people know that their submission is for a reason or something. I don't know. This kind of seems like something that might happen in a show like this. I just feel like it follows along that pattern I was talking about before, though, that if the Yamato was to gather allies on its path, and then rise up against Gameless.
艦長、ガミラスの輸送船のようです。古代ブラックタイガー出撃。はい。
Somewhat a slight confusion to me still is the fact that the Black Tigers have their own commander, but also Kodai sorry, 7 times to say also in a row. Kodai launches with them all the time as though he's the commander of them. Calm look. Does the analyzer have any looks if it's not color-coded?
班長は僕をそんな風にしか見てなかったんですか？僕が死ぬのはたかが鉄くずに帰るだけのことなんですか？僕にも命はあります。この命は人間が与えてくれたものです。人間の命は神様が与えたと聞いています。神様からもらった命も
You know what? You're a sexual harassment robot. Okay, never mind. Never mind on the sexual harassment thing part. I just mean, I felt like he was talking down to her, as though, how dare you say that your life's more valuable than mine, or something like that. But that's not the direction he went. Also, come on, really mixed signals you're giving here. I want you to edit his brain. Also, all over it. I feel like usually you would animate them dancing around it, not back and forth on the same side of it. I wonder if Kif from Futurama was inspired by these guys. You know, if you didn't wear the bottom of your dress so tight, you'd probably take more steps in one go. That's a bit of a surprise. They all seemed pretty happy a minute ago. Also kind of funny that both factions are being led by somebody with hair, when the rest of them don't have hair. Pretty airtight logic. Yeah, I guess they could be colorblind. To be fair, you guys only have clubs, and these guys have, I'm guessing, laser rifles? Oh, never mind, they've got a cannon. Did not expect that. Well, I certainly wouldn't fire it now. You're chanting "Kill Queen." Yeah, get your own selves killed if you're gonna kill me. I have to anticipate some sort of ambush or something, because otherwise it implies that the Yamato lost in space. What the Black Tiger Squadron did. Yeah, no shit. What would you give the person you're threatening to kill a weapon? And again, sci-fi weaponry versus clubs. I just suspect it's going to be Yamato crew that come out of that ship. No, I was wrong. Man, this show is pretty vicious. I almost expected to see the splat. So they got away from the fight, slowly landed with just enough time to pass out, and then the ship explodes. Pretty crazy. Oh no, they aren't sci-fi weaponry. Those are like spike throwers. They're slightly higher tech at crossbows. I don't know why the other guys were charging in.
ガミラス人じゃない地球人だ間違いだガミラス人も地球人もないわこの星の人たちは誰にも侵されず自分たちで幸せになる権利があるのよいかだずらしないで私たちだって野菜泥棒じゃないの
So? Gamblos was stealing their blood. This planet is full of vegetables. I get that Mori is like, you know, Mori's put off by the situation that she's been in, but her logic makes no sense. It's a bullshit argument. Like, legitimately could fly to the other side of the planet and take some plants. It is not, it's like I'm saying, she's like putting them mushing their own people up into a paste in the same thing as taking some plants from the ground.
アナライザー野菜補給作戦は私の失敗。艦長から午後と食らったけど、でも分かっていただけたわ。ごめんなさい、アナライザー。あなたの気持ちはとっても嬉しいのよ。だけど。
But you are also a robot and a sexual harassment fiend.
でも僕はやはりあなたが好きです。人を愛していけないことはないでしょう。
Sorry, they animated his head turning around again when it should have been turning back.
アナライザー。
My point is that if Analyzer treated Mori like a person, then maybe Mori would treat Analyzer like a person. It's very weird the way that they're pushing this mixed signal.
急げヤマトよイスカンダルへ。地球は君の帰りを、君の帰りだけを待っている。ヤマトが地球を発してすでに95日。これからの公開予定日数177日。人類絶滅と言われる日まで267日。人類絶滅と言われる日まで。
Yeah, and we're not even halfway there. That's the problem. Yeah, I mean, this is a very weird episode. There's things in this episode that I really liked, and there's things in this episode that really irk me. Unfortunately, as I said, I'm recording 2 episodes back to back, so it's going to be kind of hard. I'm going to have to... I'm bringing those up in my notes next time I bring them up. This is the next episode. I know it has an onboard greenhouse, but they stopped at Beemera for fresh vegetables. So they didn't even have to... Like calls itself a genius, volunteered to be a Yamato crew member, drinks sake, lifts up a gambler's tank, flips a skirt, and it lives as it desires. It finally proposes to Yuki. Story took place on January 13th, the 96th day. Yuki was rescued by Kode and the crew, but the vegetable failed. Hospitalized after... Damn it, I didn't get to the second paragraph. Obviously, that will be up there on the Patreon cut, not for the YouTube cut, because I have to cover the ending credits on the YouTube side. But if it's pertinent to anything, I will bring it up in the notes. It feels like the editors are also pushing the idea that since Analyzer is a independently intelligent thing, that its viewpoint is also valid. But again, my point here is that it believes it loves Mori, but it doesn't treat Mori like a person. So that when Mori retaliates against it and treats it like an object, the same way it seems to treat her, that I feel like that's almost justified. I'm not on Analyzer's side, which is weird, because I usually like the sci-fi robots in shows like this. But I just haven't been on its side from the beginning. Probably because, again, it's a sexist robot. And also seems way more advanced than it should be for the not even the setting that's in, the side that it's on. But then again, to be fair, Gameless doesn't seem that much more advanced either, so I feel like Analyzer would also be weird if it was, in fact, a Gameless spy. I don't know. From the viewpoint of, is Analyzer its own thing? Sure, yeah. I'm not debating that point. Analyzer should have the rights of a living creature because it seems to be an independently thinking living creature. Does that mean it gets to do what it wants, apropos of other people's feelings and concerns? No. But at the same time, the same problem exists for Mori with her own shipmates. It's a male crew with apparently all the women asleep. Doesn't make any goddamn sense, that one. But to the point that, again, a magazine, as a joke, indicated that you wouldn't want to be a woman on this ship because all these men all bottled up together would do something inappropriate. And it's like, these are supposed to be our heroes, right? Are you indicating our heroes are going to SA somebody? It doesn't fit. And it makes them all look bad. And it makes them all look worse. So when Analyzer comes onto this position of, I have the moral high ground here, it's like, no, you don't. No, you really don't. But the part about this episode I really liked was the inclusion of an alien race that wasn't Gamlian. The indication that Gamlis is actually subduing alien races and everything like that. That their interstellar empire is actually interstellar and an empire, as per future shows that will come out, which will not be so good as to display the things that they're implying, right? Now, granted, this civilization didn't make any goddamn sense. Like, we're squishing our own people as a sacrifice to Gamlis, who's gonna come pick up the squished remains and use them somehow. I don't know. The technology of the race didn't matter. I was anticipating this was just gonna be a native race of a planet that was sentient and capable of fighting back or whatever, right? So the element that they added all this extra stuff kind of helped it, kind of hindered it. I'm right in the middle there. So, but if we keep introducing new races, eventually we're going to hit on a theme that works. We're going to hit on something that might stick for future episodes. That's what this has me excited for. Not so much the stupider parts of it. So, this episode was, I would say, 6 out of 10. Like, I don't know how to rank this, because I haven't ranked any of the episodes before. Pretty good episode. A lot of shit that I would talk about as not being so great, but the fact that it also inspires me to talk about stuff at all, pretty good. So, I would say on the better half of episodes. Now that I'm thinking about it, actually, this might be, in consideration, a bad episode. I'm just now thinking about it in my head. Space Battleship Yamato, so far, has had a lot of pretty good episodes. So this being a good episode makes it kind of like in the middle realm. And this episode I had a lot of problems with. So this might actually... I have basically a glut of riches, as I'm going to describe it, right? The lowest quality gold is still gold, but it is the lowest quality gold. This is a pretty good episode amongst a lot of really good episodes, which pushes it towards the back half, which might say it's a bad Yamato episode. If all Yamato episodes are good, then being the worst of the good can still be bad. I don't know. Not really considering it. Maybe when I get to the end of the show and I do like a ranking of episodes, if this winds up in, say, the top 5 or whatever, then we can figure it out from there. Otherwise, I think I've been rambling for probably 10 minutes now. So we're going to go ahead and say that's going to be it for today's episode. So once again, I've been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?